Rump Chapter 32. From Small Things. While everyone else's attention was on the commotion above, we made a hasty dash through the gates. The pixies had started throwing skeins of gold out the windows, and the men and women were scrambling about to pick them up. But of course they couldn't. As soon as it hit the ground, the gold became like stones, melted into the earth. We heard shouts of people trying to pry the gold, and then they got attacked by pixies. I guess the pixies had claimed this gold as their own. They could have gold nests all over the castle now. By the time we reached the base of the mountain, the day was nearly gone. Red and I didn't speak as we traveled. We were cold and dirty and exhausted, but at least we were full from the pies Martha had given us. As we slowly climbed the mountain, Red kept glancing back toward the castle. Her face knit into something like worry. "They won't come after us," I said. "I think they're a little busy." "No, it isn't that. Do you think they'll be all right?" I had to laugh. Red, concerned? And about the miller? No less? "They'll be fine once the swelling goes down." Then we both laughed, tears streaking our muddy faces. "How'd you do that?" she asked. "How did you just do all that?" Red smiled. "A good name can do a lot for you." I told Red everything that had happened when Frederick and Bruno took me outside, all about my name and how I knew what it was and my plan to get away. "Rumpelstiltskin," she said slowly. "That's crazy. You're trapped and tangled, but then you're really powerfully magical." "Who isn't?" She patted me on the head. "You're a lot smarter than you look." "Well, that's friendship." "And you really are taller than me," she said, holding her hand up to my head. "Not that that's saying much." She finished punching me in the arm. "That's friendship, too." We reached the edge of the village just as the sun was going down, casting a sparkling pink glow all over the snow. Gran's cottage was dark and empty and cold. It looked so lonely. "You can come to my house. Mother wouldn't mind. She'll probably want to thank you for, saving my life." "Maybe in a little while." Red nodded. She understood. After everything, I just needed some time alone. I walked around the village, glancing through candlelit windows where families ate their suppers or children were snuggling in their beds. I walked past the mill, now abandoned and silent. I wondered who would be the miller now. Surely no one as greedy as Oswald. I walked through the mines where tools were abandoned, and the pans were full of mud, suggested that the villagers were still not finding that much gold. I walked just inside the woods and felt the mysteries there. One day I would go back to Red's granny and thank her. Nothing had changed about the mountain or the village, but it all looked different to me. I guess because I had changed. When I came back to the cottage, I noticed something that was really different. There was a hardy little sapling growing in the snow from the front of the cottage. My seed. Red must have came and watered it, or maybe even her granny. Big things can grow from small ones. What would it grow? What would it grow to be? I hoped a giant apple tree. Inside the cottage, I found my mother's spinning wheel in front of the fireplace, old and scratched. It had cost so much trouble, but it was still beautiful to me, because it was hers. Because now I knew the destiny she had wished for me. I brushed my hands over the wood and spun the wheel. Its whir ringing was like music. I still had my mother's bobbin in my satchel. I took it out and placed it on the wheel. I gathered a few bits of straw from the floor and held them tight in my hand. Red once told me that magic was inside of me. She was right, but Ida had sent that magic everywhere. In the sky, in the air, in the sun. She was right too. The magic was inside me and outside me, in everyone and everything had its own unique kind of magic. It was in trees and trolls, squirrels and rabbits and mountains and rivers and rocks. It was in my feet and fingers and in my heart. I could feel it now as I began to spin. Straw is straw, I thought. The straw snapped and sputtered through the wheel. It floated in the air, glittering in the moonlight, like bits of gold dust. Like gold, but not gold. Beautiful. Gran would have loved it, and so would Mother. I could almost feel them with me. And that's its own kind of magic, to feel people who are gone still here.